Hey everybody, Miss SOT here. Sorry, I'm in the car. I am popping in for just a little quick update. I'm probably going to throw together a little short video, keep y'all updated with what is going on, but it might be a little bit too much for a short on this one. So I saw today that Muddy Feet had a preparing for a winter storm in Texas video. And I understand, you know, like their winter storm is not Kentucky winter storm, is not Chicago's kind of winter storm. So, so we might be in a little competition with our updates and our videos. So there you go, Mr. Jeff, game on. Because here in Kentucky, we are preparing for a ice warning storm. Ice warning came out early this morning, I think, like during the night. We've had 5 days to prep. We've been knowing it was coming. We are expected, you know, it's very fluid right now. A 20-mile shift of this storm will make a dramatic difference on who gets what and how bad it gets. But we're right now, me and Mr. SOT are in the worst zone of this storm. So we're supposed to get more than a half an inch of ice. And let me just tell you, when you get to a half an inch or more of ice, you are talking about infrastructure concerns, the integrity of all of your infrastructures and all that. Look at me popping out them big words. Anyhow, so me and Mr. SOT have been on prep all week because, like I said, we've had 5 days of warning that this was coming. So yesterday we did a lot of that kind of stuff. He got all the fuels, all the propane. The heaters are already in the house in case we lose electric. We have survived an ice storm before. We get them here in Kentucky from time to time. The last bad ice storm we had, it was a doozy. The National Guard had to come in and help rescue people out of their homes because electric was out so long and they ran out of their heat sources, their alternative heat sources. Personally, our house, I live with a Boy Scout, so he's always prepared. And we had heat. We had people had to come stay with us because we had heat and they didn't. And we have like all the camp things so we could cook and, you know, whatever. Just makes things a little bit more challenging, but it's not any different than camping, you know, especially like rough camping. So, so we've got all that stuff ready, and today's game plan was the grocery stores are crazy. The shelves are empty. And I'm sure you all have seen on social media the post of all that kind of stuff. But people forget about some things. So like they forget that, you know, maybe you should check the dollar stores. You know, there's one every 3 miles. I'm just saying, at least here. I passed 4 on my way home pretty much. So anyhow, so they forget to check places like that for the items that they may or may not need. I stay pretty stocked. We live kind of out in the country. My deep freeze stays stocked anyhow, so meat's not ever really, you know, like when I start to get low, it's time to go. My pantry stays pretty stocked with all my dry goods, that sort of stuff. So our game plan for today, last minute storm prepping, is 3 things to occur. One was Mr. SOT had to go to the liquor store, stock himself up on Chickalubs. That's essential, right? I had to go to the dollar store because he also needed sodas, because that's essential, right? We did need some junk food, that sort of stuff. And the one thing I wanted to make sure I had plenty of was paper plates, paper bowls, that sort of stuff. Not particularly in the great thought of heating up water to do a crap ton of dishes. There are only 2 of us, so paper plates and paper bowls, it's going to be that way I don't have to worry about that, because at my house we have a well, and if you lose electric, you lose water. So that makes it an even bigger challenge and fun, good time. Luckily for us, we've done this before. We know how it works. We do have a swimming pool. Top half of that swimming pool is probably ice right now, but we could bust down to if we had to. We had to do that last time. Last ice storm, we lost electric for probably about 2 weeks. It was a pretty long time without electric. But if you have ice and you have heat, you can have water. So, because we need that to flush toilets, that's critical. So I do feel like some jugs so that we have plenty of drinking water, that sort of stuff. And sometimes we fill up a tub just in case, but not a big deal, just another day. So they have declared us a state of emergency already, pre the storm getting here, just from what's being predicted. So stay tuned. I will keep you updated on progress and how things are going and all that good jazz. So hope everybody stays warm and stay safe. All right, so I failed to mention what the third thing was that was on the list of storm prep to do. So here is the third thing that's on the list for storm prep to do. Give you a little slide. You know where I'm at? Yes, of course you do. Let me flip you back. Mickey D's, because you know why? Because if we're home for a storm, for ice storm, for like 4 or 5 days, we'll be eating good, because electric or no electric, I can cook, have all my propane cookers and all that stuff. And so anyhow, so we'll be eating good for the next few days, and I'm going to be cooking all those meals for the next few days. So I'm not cooking tonight, but I'm going to give you a little preview. This is our shopping closet, and I'll flip you back around and let you just kind of see. We have some restaurants, we have a Cox's outlet, and my Kroger is right there. You can see all this traffic. It's normally not this bad. Shit's getting real, people. All right, all of my winter prep items have been obscured, and we have them now. So I have my Mickey D's for dinner, taking it home to Mr. SOT. So let's talk winter ice storm and prep and all that. I'm gonna tell you some of the ridiculous I've heard over the last couple days. 2 or 3 people been scrambling around that I know. They've been looking for generators last minute. Of course, everybody's looking for propane, everybody's looking for all of those things. Now, keep in mind, we've had 5 days to prep for this storm, but that's okay. So I said, well, you know, what do you need a generator for? Like, what's the biggest concern that you're really worried about, why it's such a big deal? Well, I've got to keep my refrigerator going. I don't want to lose all the stuff out of my refrigerator. Let's think about this for a second. We're getting an ice storm here in Kentucky, and you're worried about things in your refrigerator going bad. Last ice storm, let me tell you what I did with my refrigerator things. I put it in the coolers and set it on the porch. If it's cold enough to be icy, it's probably pretty cold enough to keep your refrigerator stuff cold. Like, I only had to do that because my house was so warm that I was afraid to leave it in the refrigerator. But like my deep freezers, I don't worry about. They're in the garage, so they're gonna stay cold enough. It'll be fine as long as I don't have to get in and out of them. So I find that interesting. We have a generator. It's nice to be able to, you know, put a couple lights on, or to keep my fridge cold in the summer. If I lose electric in the summer, a generator's good for that. A generator's good to be able to charge all my things conveniently. I don't have to run things out to the car. Plus, newer cars, let me tell you about newer cars. You can't charge them. Charge things if the car's not on sometimes with some models. That's a pain. My car is like that. One thing I don't like about my car. So yeah, so everything's pretty much sold out from what I gather. In most of the big grocery stores, it's sold out. You couldn't have paid me to go in Kroger today with the way that parking lot looked and the people in there, and this is the stuff I've seen on Facebook from people that has went to Kroger for something today. We do not have a Walmart where I live, so Kroger is our biggest box retail anything that we have. But I wouldn't have braved it. Ain't nothing I need that bad. Let me tell you something else I find interesting. I find it quite interesting in the difference of lifestyles of people that live in the city versus the country. I said earlier that, you know, my deep freeze is pretty stocked with meat. My pantry is pretty stocked with food. I live in the country. I was raised that way. I've lived here my whole life. I've said that before. And here's the big difference. The difference is that I have a deep freezer. I go 2, sometimes 3 times a year, spend hundreds of dollars all at one time, buy all the meats that I need. Pretty much I go to the butcher to buy all the meats that I need. I don't buy most of my meat or anything from Kroger or Walmart. Once in a while I'll pick up something random that I might not be able to get from the butcher, you know. But most things I get from there, and I keep it stocked up pretty well. Same with the pantry. When you live 30 minutes from a Walmart and you have, you know, limited groceries close to you, like growing up, we didn't get a Kroger until I was a teenager. We had mom and pop grocery stores, which didn't have all the things. So you learn that's just a different lifestyle that you live, I guess. So like when the pandemic hit, there was things I wanted, but but there was nothing critical. We could survive, you know, a few months probably off of, probably longer than that, off of what's just in my stock, like how I do it. Plus, I hate to grocery shop. I hate to shop for a lot of things, but groceries is the number one. I hate grocery shopping. So I don't want to do it very often. So I just keep a pile. So to me, I have a friend that lives in the city, and she had, you know, 5 people living in her house, and so it was more of a challenge because she didn't even own a deep freezer. They're so convenient to everywhere they go. For them, going to the grocery store once a week or twice a week is, you know, common. So, especially, like, to me, it's just absurd. I don't know how anybody can have enough groceries in one refrigerator and one standard fridge freezer to last a family of 5 any length of time. So that's why they would have to go. Like, they didn't have anywhere to stockpile meat, so it became like a big old deal to them. And I find that unique. I find that just unusual. I'm not saying either one is right or wrong. It's just the difference of how I was raised and how we live versus how other people live. Because literally, I cannot imagine going to the grocery store once a week for stuff like that. Typically, our routine is I stock the freezer every few months. You know, 2 or 3 times a year, pretty much. I stock the freezer, and then I do one big grocery run a month. Of course, now there's only 2 of us in my house, although we have company and the kids come and this, that, and the other, but still. And then for the rest of my grocery stores, it's randomness. It's, oh, I need a little bit of this, need a little bit of that. Back in the day, before there was a dollar store on Ivory Corner, we'd stop at the gas station. Like, you didn't go to the grocery store to pick up a gallon of milk just because that's all you ran out of. You just run in the gas station and get a gallon of milk because you were going to save a whole lot of money, even if you were paying more money for that milk than you would have been to go to a grocery store and spend all that kind of money. So I just find that very funny, that difference of lifestyle very funny. So I'm going to talk a little bit more, like, I know I'm like making jokes about this being an ice storm. This could be a very serious thing. We did lose lives last time we had an ice storm in Kentucky, and nobody wishes nothing like that. I talked about infrastructures. Things like that do happen. Most of the time, the people that die during storms like this are dying because of their heat source. They either get carbon monoxide poisoning from a generator, or a fire, or something like that occurs. So I don't want to make light of that because it can be a very serious situation. People get injured on the ice if they have animals. This is the country talk coming back. You still have to go feed. I mean, the animals don't care if there's an ice storm or not. They still got to eat. And people slip and fall, break their hip, whatever. So it can be a really serious situation. Some of the minor things that you don't think about on a regular that you have to then consider and think about, like, it's not a smart idea to park your vehicle near a tree before an ice storm because ice makes things break, makes things heavy, makes trees fall down, and that's how you know trees fall on your house or they fall on your vehicle or things like that. And some people just it never even crosses their mind. So that's just some of the things you have to think about with an ice storm, and just keep watch of things. So anyhow, I'm headed home. I'm almost home, and I've been rambling long enough. I may throw in some a little bit of video of some of the items that I purchased today for my storm prep, and I'm gonna go home and eat my McDonald's and hunker down. Maybe I'll get a lot of video done during the ice storm. We'll see how it goes. It will definitely be much easier now that the girls are grown, and it's just me and Junior, because when kids are little at home, it's a little hard to keep them entertained sometime when you have no electric, no water, none of those jazz things. So I don't have that this time. This time it'll be just Mr. SOT and me, unless we have to take in all the neighborhood people because they don't have heat, which could happen. So stay tuned. All right, storm prep is prepped. I'm going to walk you through the purchases. So the Zesta crackers, my daughter picked up for me today because they have been MIA from grocery shelves for over a month now. Zesta is my favorite. I'm a little cracker picky, I guess. So she grabbed a couple boxes when she found them at Wally World the other day, and so she brought them to me. There's my plates, my bowls, some junk food Mr. Daly requested. There's sweet stuff, salty stuff. There's these things. I don't know if anybody's ever had them. I've never had them. We're going to see. Cake, batter, popcorn, something. Some Doritos hiding, some cashews, some cereal. You know, because I got my milk. I didn't get it today. I got it the other day. But we have plenty of milk. So I can have cereal for breakfast. Some Pringles. Mr. Daly's meds. Some bread, because everybody needs a milk sandwich, right? Some requested soda. And then over here, this was not really a storm prep. But guys, these things right here, I picked some up the other day and made them. Holy hell, they are so good. So I got them while I seen it. And then Mr. Daly got me storm prep prize right there. Some cake vodka when he went to the liquor store. So we're set. We are set. We have all the supplies. We have all the things. Let me walk over here and show you. One of our heaters is brought in, ready on the standby. This is what we use as an alternate heat source. And then Mr. SOT, hang on, we'll flip the light on so you can see a little better. Got this little handy dandy thing for Christmas. See that? Oop, sorry, tilting you around. A multi-socket plug-in something, and somehow this something is going to connect to our generator. There's a lighter thing right there. Of course, I have a propane stove, like a 2-burner deal. There's Nuggy checking things out. He says, "What is all this stuff, Mom?" Anyhow, and I have a single burner propane thing that attaches to one of them little green propane tanks too. So I have those. To cook on if I need to, plus the grill. Of course, it's a little cold to be outside grilling, but we are set. We're ready for storms. So far, still just raining. Anyhow, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Night, guys.